What's up everyone, and today I'm bringing a deck profile on my S-Force deck. Now, S-Force recently, well, not kind of too recently, this was a couple sets back, got some new support, and so I figured I'd update it. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, S-Force is a pretty unique deck. I kind of like, it's similar to Mech Knights. It's a deck where columns do matter, because each of the S-Force do different things depending on the columns it's in and what else is in the column. First, I run 3 S4 Rapid Chiyomaru. Chiyomaru, when your opponent controls a monster in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters, you can only target that monster for attacks. But it has a secondary effect which is much better. Quick effect, you can banish one S-Force card from your hand, return this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon one S-Force monster from your deck in defense position. That's pretty cool because one of the S-Force monsters, literally when it is summoned, can special summon a banished S-Force monster from your banished. Also run the 3 S-Force Edge Razor. Each time your opponent's monster in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters cannot be used as material for the link summon of a link 3 or higher monster. So that could be pretty cool, preventing your opponent from going into stuff like Appaloosa, Access Code, and if this card is normal special summon, you can special summon an S-Force monster from your hand in attack position. So if you have this and the Chiyomaru, you can use this, normal it, use the effect to special the Chiyomaru, and use Chiyomaru's effect to banish the S-Force in hand to special one from deck. Also run 3 Gravitino. Gravitino, when it is normal or special summoned, you can add an S-Force card from your deck to your hand. And each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters is banished when it leaves the field. So it becomes macro on the field. Well, if they're in the same column, that is. Also run the 2 S-Force Platina. Platina, when it is summoned, you can target one of your banished S-Force monsters. Except Platina, special summon it. And also run the 1 Dog Tag. During your main phase, your opponent can activate the effects of monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters. So you want to get a lot of your S-Force monsters on the field, so you can almost lock them out. If you can get 5 S-Force monsters on the field, including Dog Tag, then your opponent essentially cannot activate monster effects at all. So that's pretty cool. And if your opponent normal special summons that monster while you control that S-Force monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So it is also self-summoning. Of course, since we are perfectly fine with banishing stuff, I do run the 3D Shifter. You know, it's easily one of the best hand traps currently in the game because it works against Despia, Sword Soul, anything that uses its grave, really. And I also do run a bit of an adventure engine in here as well with the 2 Water Enchanters and the 1 Wandering Griffin Rider. You could play 3, but I didn't really have enough room, and this was literally the last on the list. Next, I run the 3 S-Force Bridgehead. Bridgehead, when it's activated, you can add an S-Force monster from your deck to your hand, and when your opponent monster declares an attack on your S-Force monsters in the same column, you can activate this effect. That opponent monster you control cannot be destroyed by that battle. So it's a little bit of battle protection, but you more or less use it for the search effect. Of course, we run Terraforming because we definitely want to get that search off. Also run 3 S-Force Showdown. Showdown has 2 effects. Special summon an S-Force monster from your hand in defense position, or target an S-Force monster in your graveyard, add to your hand. Both can be pretty good, but you're usually going to be using it for the first effect to special summon an S-Force monster in your hand. And it's a quick play, so you can also do that during your opponent's turn as well. Also run the 3 Rite of Aramesir, as well as the 1 Fateful Adventure. I don't run Draco back, more or less just because I didn't really have room. Also run 3 Paw of Prosperity for searching, or more excavating than searching, but the 1 Called by the Grave because you'll want to get hand trapped as well as a Dimensional Fissure. Moving on to traps, I run 3 S-Force Chase. Chase, you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of S-Force monsters you control with different names. Return them to your hand. So it's like a Compulse that gets more powerful with the more S-Force monsters you have with different names. And if an S-Force monster you control would banish a card from your hand to activate its effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. It can become the cost for one of your S-Force monsters' effect. I also run 3 Imperm. You know, just really solid against almost anything. Moving on to the extra deck, I run 3 S-Force Justify. Interestingly enough, this is actually a pretty good card. Justify has a quick effect. to where you target one face-up effect monster opponent controls. Negates effects until the end of the turn. So that's a bit of a negation. Then you can move that opponent's monster to the remaining monster zone this card points to. You can only use this effect of S-Force Justify once per turn. It's definitely a pretty good card. It's a negation, but you don't really use your extra deck, I'd say, a whole lot, too much. You more or less want to keep your S-Force monsters on the field for the S-Force dog tag. Also running one Dark, an IP, Cerberus, Phoenix, and Unicorn, as well as an Apollosa and access code to round out Link monsters. I do run the one Sky Cavalry Centuria. The S-Force monsters all have mixed levels. You got 2, 4, 5, and 6. So you can run ranks of any of those levels. I also run the one Tornado Dragon. You can put a Abyss Dweller in if you want. Really depends. I do run the one Downer Magician and the 2 Zeus to round out the extra deck. So that's it for my S-Force deck profiling. What do you think? Think it's a pretty cool deck? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.